Hey, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be hearing and talking about the UAFX MAX compressor pedal. Now, I know what you're thinking, another compressor pedal, but this one's pretty special because it models not one, but two incredibly expensive, out of my reach compressors for such a relatively cheap price. And it sounds insane. Here, check it out on this track. This is without the compressor. Not bad, right? But with it, yow. Oh, and full disclosure, UA is sponsoring this video, but they don't get any say in what I get to say about the UA Max pedal. So the two compressors it models are the LA2A, which is about $4,700 brand new, and the UA 1176, which is another $2,600 new. This pedal, $349. So let's go through a quick pros and cons list and then listen to some more examples and push it further than we usually should, like we always do. And yeah, so for starters, it's full-blown stereo with 1/4 inch ins. It's super easy to navigate because there's no secondary knob functions to remember since everything is just laid out for you. And the big red preamp knob is also modeling another UA product, their 610 tube preamp, which adds some nice crunchy gain. For example, check this out. UA also has an app for this pedal that you can connect to over Bluetooth with your phone. It was super easy to connect, but what weirdly blew me away the most was how I was able to transmit the serial number and register it to my account without me ever having to type any characters in. It felt like I was living in the future for a split second. And within the app, you have some other settings like your EQ and filter settings. And you can also change how the compressors are routed, choosing between the serial mode, which runs the compressor 1 into 2, a parallel mode, which runs them side by side, or an exclusive mode that will only allow one compressor on at a time. Personally, I keep it in serial because who wouldn't want to compress their compressor? I mean, it sounds nuts. I'll prove that to you in a second. And to be fully honest, I don't know enough about compression to know how to wrangle parallel compression on two compressors for the same signal. I might be tripping, but I'm not sure what the use case for that would be in my arena of sculpting sounds from synths and, drum machines. Maybe it's a vocal processing or mixing technique that is just way above my head. And if you have some more insight on it, feel free to drop some knowledge down on us in the comments below. But as with anything, there are cons, but it ain't too bad. I just think UA is getting used to the pedal workflow world and can improve on a couple things. For example, the knobs don't have an option to change from their default jump mode. Meaning, if you're on comp 1 and you set it up nicely and then you switch over to comp 2 and comp 2's values are in positions that the knobs aren't, your values will jump as soon as you move that knob. Granted, a lot of pedals work this way and a lot of pedals don't have the option to change their knob behavior. It's more of a synth world thing, but hey, why not bring it to the pedal world first, right? Thankfully, the knobs are really high quality and super big, so you don't accidentally change the value just by tapping the side of this thing. But I wish there was a way to have them be pickup style, meaning no value changes until you at least hit that previous point. And lastly, I think they left some workflow shortcuts on the table. It would have been awesome to see, for example, a long press of the foot switches change something. The first thing that comes to mind is the serial, parallel, or exclusive modes, or even some of the EQ modes that are within the app, because you can't change those outside of the app. But overall, the MAX Compressor pedal is a fantastic compressor pedal that models two of the most expensive compressors out there for a fraction of the price. So with that out of the way, let's sweeten up some jams and really try to push it to places the original compressors would have rarely seen, I hope. Or I mean, I don't know. I never really got to use them because they're too expensive. But let's check this track out here. I'll turn on comp 1. What's cool here is this one's set to the 1176, and this comp knob is kind of a macro knob because this is a digital pedal. It's basically UA's plugins, but in pedal form. So if I turn this up, it's doing makeup gain, threshold breach, and I think just like input sensitivity. So you can start to really slam it up. And then you got your ratio, which does not smoothly change between these values. It's either 20, 10, 8, 4, or 0. And then there's also all, which is just super crazy. I usually live in the 20 range. Then you got your release. This one got me a little funky, right? Because release up is a faster release. Down is a slower release. I guess it technically makes sense, but it tripped me out because I'm so used to saying release up means a longer release on synthesizer. So this is like backwards again. I don't know who's at fault here, probably my brain. But now that we got this going, I can turn on Compressor 2 and you can hear that it's slamming it even harder. We'll flip over to Compressor 2. These settings here will be applied to it. You also have an independent preamp control for each compressor. So for example, I can bring this back, go back to 1, really push this hard. Oh, and you can hear something interesting here. You might have noticed it there. If I watch, I'll play back. This sounds a little more muffled, but if I turn up the preamp, it sounds like it livens up a bit. This is kind of by design. It's inside the application. So check this out. Compressor 1 settings. When I engage or turn on the 610 preamp, I have a low EQ cut of -6 and a high EQ boost of +3. There's also a sidechain bass filter, which I forget exactly what it does, like remove some of the bass pumping effect and the bass, but not the bass compensation or something trippy. I mean, here, we can hear it. That's with it on. With it off. So with it off, it's a little more clear, but you still kind of get that driving feel, right? But I like having this setting specifically on Compressor 1 and leaving it off and off on Compressor 2, because if I find that I want it to be a little less muffled, I can turn this up just a little bit, just to engage that. And then turn on Compressor 2, go to 2, and really start trying to fine tune it and clean it up a little bit. Right? But you got to be careful because, like, if I take the kick out, you want to see how much comes back, right? Let's go and turn down our filter of this. Okay, let's bring the kick back in. Hear how driving that is? But what's cool, again, I have my own separate preamp here, so this will just be a clean gain, or like just drive, just overdrive, but it's not going to change the EQ of it. And you can push this, but I don't push it too far. It's just if you really need that gain, or if you want clean gain, you have your separate output here. And again, this is also separate per compressor. So, you know, I'm not going to mess with that. That's just turning it up. Of course, it sounds better when you turn it up. But I think where this gets really fun is just kind of switching back and forth between, do I, listen to how much noise it brings up. Do I drive and squash the first compressor, or do I then leave that kind of clean, catch some peaks, and then really slam it on the second compressor with some overdrive? Or do I, say we go like this, right? On Compressor 1, let's just keep it nice and simple, right? Right, let's see without it. Okay, so I wanna match this gain wise. Kind of similar there. Right, and then we'll turn on Compressor 2. And now maybe I want to drive this, but leave it a little less, like not as compressed, but just more overdriven. And same thing here, because I'm engaging that, I can go and say EQ low. That way, just it doesn't get too muffled. Did you hear the difference there? This is, with it off, that low EQ just starts to really muffle things. So I like the ability that I can turn off or add a -6 dB kind of pad to the low end. So if I really wanted to push this, I can. Or if I wanted to make it super crispy, +3 on the high end. I don't really like that. I'm gonna leave it here. Maybe compress it a little bit. Okay, we'll do this. One of my favorite things to do also when I'm really trying to get like creative compression is I'll mix everything to the kick. So right now the kick is here. It's pretty short, but what's funny is with compression, the quickest understanding I can give anyone is when something is too loud, it pushes everything down to try to mitigate that loudness, right, of that one specific sound. When things kind of calm down and things are pretty quiet, it allows the volume to come back up to its more natural state. Essentially, it's just catching peaks and pushing things down. So knowing this, I usually mix my kick really loud. This is creative. Don't roast me, or go ahead. I don't really care. So here's our kick, right? We'll turn on the compressors, and I'll go to track 8. Let's get some cleaner sounds in here. There we go. A little simpler, right? Now I'm going to start turning up track 8, and you'll hear that it starts kind of, it's pumping. You can already hear it there. And again, if we take this out, you can hear it comes back up, right? We'll give it a slower release. Even slower and more ratio. See, now that the pad sound is really lost back there. You turn up your release, it's allowing the sound to come back quicker between the kicks. But again, the kick is so loud that if we were to shape our kick and make it shorter, it's really fast. But if the kick was huge, it's taking up all the headroom in your compressor, right? So you kind of have to play with this. I'll go about here, slow down the compression. And one thing I love about compression is that, or creative compression, I keep calling that to give myself a get out of jail free card, right? This creative compression is me messing all the settings up like crazy to kind of get a sound that I like. This, I love mixing to the kick because it kind of forces me to do this. And I learned a lot of this on the SP404 SX, which didn't really have too many settings on there. But here, we'll go to track 8, bring it up a little louder, go to track 7. Oh, track 7's here. See, my bass is huge. It's taking up all the headroom. It's pushing everything down. It's even pushing the kick down. I'll go to our second filter and I'll start bringing this down, high pass style. Oh yeah, now we're cooking with oil. Bring up the volume on that. Let's see what 5 is. 5's a little loud. Bring that down. And look, this is the craziest part about this. If I go to track 1, look how loud its volume is. And then track 5, track 7, and track 8. Their volumes are so low in comparison to 1. And again, this is because I'm mixing to the kick to give me that pumping effect without having to sidechain my tracks. This is how I did a lot of the VCF stuff, to be honest. I'll admit that right now. I took the MPC 4000 and made a track, squashed the crap out of it with compressors, and had the kick way too loud. If you took the compressor off of those, it sounded like a very bad mix. But it was the character and the sound that I was chasing after. Watch, if I take these compressors off, do you hear this? This is ridiculous. But then the thing you gotta be worried or conscious of is that if you take the kick out, what happens with the signal? It all gets a little louder. This is especially prevalent with claps that happen on the same time as kicks. So watch. That clap sounds decent, it's a little loud, but watch what happens when I take the kick out. Boom, it's huge. This is always really hard. See, now the clap is gone. It's super gone. Actually, you know what? Here's another thing. Let's go ahead and just give ourselves the limitation of just using one compressor on at a time, right? So I'm just gonna go to exclusive mode. We're only gonna listen to compressor 1, and let's find another pattern. What's this one here? Cool, sure. Without this, is this loud? Pretty loud, kind of slamming, right? We'll turn this on, try to get a similar gain out of that. And if you hear that meow, meow, that's all the samples here. Let's listen to what we got working with. Oh, it's this one here. Don't ask me why I have samples like these. And why that is the wildest pattern I've ever created. What was I on? Let's throw the kick on here. What the heck was I thinking? I mean, it's kind of trippy. I'm kind of down with it. We'll take this. Yo, actually, this is kind of pumping. I'm kind of down with this. Never mind. We'll copy this, paste this, paste this, paste this. And then let me find a little open hat real quick. Sure, that'll work. I'll do this. And then unmute that. All right, we'll take this and we'll just go crazy with it. Copy, paste, paste, paste. And then unmute that, of course. Oh yeah. All right, let's kind of get it to that territory. So this is the LA2A. We'll switch it over to the 1176. Easy, partner, easy. Yo, this track 5 pattern is so wild. All right, let's go to 2. Oh, right, I put it in exclusive mode. We have to work with what we got. Here, I'll start. So I'm gonna start pushing up our release, which will make a faster release, creating an even more harsh pumping feeling, less smooth. You can hear it's really fighting, right? Same with your attack. Kind of a slower attack. Gonna start really pushing it. Same thing here, that's a little too harsh on my ears for the high end, so I'm gonna take that +3 off. Let's leave the low EQ in there. What about a +6? Let's go. Okay, you know what? Here, I need to bring it back in. We're gonna go into serial mode. And then if I flip over to 2. I mean, hey, if you wanted to go here, you can. And keep it stereo, sure, why not? But that's not where I'm trying to go. We'll go back to another 1176 here. Yo, this is slamming. Okay, hold on. I need to find one sample really quick, because I know this isn't everyone's cup of tea. I like to go a little hard style once in a while. Well, this ain't hard style, but you know what I mean. Yeah, this is it here, so... Okay, cool. It's gonna be really short. We'll go per track. For this one track, I just want a signal. Right, let's bring it back. We'll bring it back. We don't have to live here. There it is, that's slamming. save it here, and then we can go. Woo! Yeah. Oh man, that one felt too good. And you can hear, with all the crazy insanity that we did, how much the compressor slowly let a lot of that kind of come back in, right? Because we pushed it really far. Yo, that is nuts. Okay, let's try that without the compressor, just to hear what it sounds like. Both compressors are off. I'm gonna take this off and we'll do the same little build-up. Delay, reverb, hold all this up, open everything up, and then source down. Now, and then this track sucks now, but then, yeah, in it to win it. Yo, and I can really hear that stereo. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it here. This is on a high note. Yo, I appreciate you as always. Hope to see you again next week. If you enjoyed this video, I think you would enjoy this one as well. And until next week, my friend, share the love, share the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Peace. All right, let's do that breakdown one more time. I have to do it.